Right. Let me start start the system. So we'll make a start. While it's setting up, let me discuss the plan. I'm going to have like a small session on setting up different users in the system. And then once we did that, then I will explain how to set up and install MySQL in the Linux server system and creating multiple users. Right. Hope you can see the screen. So while it is recording, we already discussed setting up users last time, and we had some issues on setting this up while we work on this. But assuming that you have already a user, now, for example, in my case, I have one user set up in this system. Let me log into it, that. Then right now I'm in the system. And while when you want to create some users, we already discussed last time. So you have to have the super user access. You can say sudo add user. Let's say hero, which I provide the user's name. The process we discuss, usually you have to provide a password. Usually what we recommend is, sorry, what we normally recommend is you provide a basic password and then you ask user to change that password. That's the procedure. Once you set up the password, it will ask some details about the user, like username and other information which you can provide. And once you do that, you can see the user is created. Now, the next part would be you can just check this because this is a normal user we have generated. So therefore, let me log out from my terminal. So if I click command log out, I'll be logging out with the system. The new user that I have created is Senhiro. So let me use the default password given to him, right? And then now he can work on his system. And then what you can do is the user actually, I ask, you can actually change the password. So changing the password, usually you can do by putting a password. So for example, let me check. So we are trying to change the password in this particular case for users in Hero, and we logged with that. So first we have to provide our current password. Then you provide a new password. So this is the procedure that you can actually follow for generating password. So you can create multiple users, and then you can simply instruct your users to change their password, right? So that's normally the procedure, right? Actually, you can also use or change the password for a user. Now, for example, one thing can happen is user might forget his password. So then you have to enter as a super user. Okay, maybe I can show you if you want, like, for example, let me log out from this, log out. Right. Now let me log in as a root user. Right. Now, let's say, now in this particular case, I'm going to change the password for a different user. The command will be the same, but you have to, work as a with a sudo command, because you have to work as a, so maybe you can say sudo password same here. Right. Now, first of all, we have to provide. So now you can provide the new password. It won't ask a previous password, because we are going to make sure that we are going to change the password. So this scenario would be helpful in case if your users forgets his password. So this is the procedure we need to follow. We can provide a username, so password. So you have to retype. Right. Right. So now we discussed one scenario, creating a user for the system, and also like, providing a password. We logged with the user account and we observed that. And also we discussed the command password to change the password. And then I will also show you like what might happen if the user forgot the password yet as a root user. You can change the password for your user, right? So having said that, um, the next thing would be we can set up different groups in Linux operating systems. This will be helpful. Sometimes you are giving different privileges to different set of users. So that's the idea. Now, usually when you create a group, you can actually check what groups you will have. For example, you can type, let me show you. Let me clear this screen. So you can say groups, which will gives you an idea about what kind of groups you already have in your machine. And then this is one way to do that. And then the other way is this information is written in a file. So we can go to, there's a file inside the etc folder as groups file. Usually you can identify this. So you can use a command like cat to list what is inside. So I'm going to do cat command, and then what I'm going to do is I will go to C and then go. Yeah. So you can see, this is a detailed information about the user groups, right? Now, one thing is, let's say, I mean, right now we have only very few users, but you can see there are a number of users here. So you don't need like everything that, we will hear, right? So whenever you don't need those information, so we can simplify using various other commands, right? So that's the idea of groups. So as I can say, now, whenever you want to see, you can use various commands to see about the users who's using the system, right? One command could be users, right? Right now it shows you that, okay, um, um, I'm logging in. And also like you can use another command who, which will show you like information this. Right. Now, one thing is we can look at groups as well. You can look at information, particular users. Now, for example, let's say I'm going to look at the users here with, let's say, the groups with someone. So one way to do this is we can say cat, etc, and group. So this will give you everything. Let's say I don't need everything. I hope you remember we got some other commands like, for example, egrep or grep. Egrep is actually advanced one we discussed earlier, but the grep can be used, for example, okay, just to see where we have the sampattis. So where you will see Sampath, it lists only the groups with the name Sampath is there. Right. Okay, so that's about a little bit about the groups that we have created. But you can create separate group, right? So let me say I want to particularly create a group of, let's say, instructors, right? So what I can do is I can create a new group. Now, creating a new group would be to do is using a command called group add. And then I can say, okay, instructor. So this is specifically, sometimes we want to give him privilege for accessing different services in the system for a particular set of users. So that'll the idea. And then let's say, now that you have groups, you can actually look at the command. So for example, we set groups. We can say cat etc group. Right now you can see the instructor is added there. Right. Now, remember, now we have created a group Senhiru. And then let's change it. So what you can do is, for example, you can check. Now we created a one user. We say groups, and then we can say Senhiru. The right now, what you see is Senhiru, which means that it's a default group. That means we have not assigned our user into any particular user group. So remember, like I want to create, or I want to assign Senhiru to the instructor group, right? So what you can do is we can put him into a group, right? So we can say the command to add, okay, we can put it like this, sudo. We can say we are going to modify the user. We are adding to a group. And the group is, we are going to put him to instructor. And you can actually have a list of groups here. You can comma separate, but right now let me assume that I'm going to put him only the instructor group and then the username. right? So now I can check the group. You can see here the Senhiru is putting into instructor group as well. Right. Okay, if you want to know like what commands I have used earlier, there's a command called history, which shows you all the commands that you have typed. So you can see that from the starting point, I have add user called Senhiru and logged out. And then, so other information is not recorded here, but then we came back and we changed the password for Senhiru. And then with the command number 6, we look at what groups using two commands, groups, and by visualizing the content of the file in etc group. Then we have looked at those who have logged in the system using users and the command who. And then we also look at in number 11, for example, we went through the groups inside the file and we particularly search only for the term sample. Then as the next step, what we did, we created a new group called instructor, and then we assign Senhiru to the instructor group, and we visualize, observe that assignment. So that's what we did. That we say it's a privilege command, only root users are allowed to do that. So usually what will happen, you not normally logged in as a root user instead of that you use as a normal user, and then you get the root privileges by using sudo. Now, right now, the user that we have created, Senhiru, is would not have this sudo. For example, things like installation could not be done, right? For example, he might try to update, might not be able to do because you are not a sudo user. So let me show you that. So let me come back here. Let's say log out. Let me log in as Senhiru with the command, with the password we have created. Right. Let me try to say apt get update. Okay. So you can say that for users in Hero, we have not given the enough permission. So it says permission denied, right? You can see that you need sudo, the root privileges for running commands like mounting, apt get, fdisk, and so on. So, which means you need some information, some root privileges to work with. So therefore, now you have to provide this facility for the user. If you are thinking that, okay, Senhiru is instructor also, we are allowed to make update in the server system. So that's the one of the things that we can do. Now, how do you do that? The same command, right? The same command that we have used for user modified, we can provide the sudo. So let me show you how to do that. Right now, I'm in the Senhiru's account. So let me log out from this. I will log out from this, and then let's say I'm logging as Sampath. Right. Now, what I'm going to do right now is now I'm going to provide the sudo access to instructor Senhiru. So what I can do is I will say use mod, right, with AG. Okay, the group we will say sudo, and we'll say Senhiru. Okay, so this you need sudo first, right? And then I will say right? Which means now we have given. So let's check his groups now. I will say groups, same hero. You can see now send hero is assigned to 3 groups as send hero, sudo, and instructor, which means now hopefully send hero can access privilege commands as well. So to check that, let me go back to his account. So I'm going to say log out. Say send hero. Okay, that is also now okay. Let me say sudo apt get update. I will provide his user. So you can see that now. You can see it's working, hopefully. So that's the idea of providing sudo access to the users. So that means the root privileges. Now to do that, what we did, we simply add the user into the group sudo, right? So that's about creating users and assigning it, right? Now, similar to that one, let's add another user just to show you how we can do. So I'm going to add some path. Then I will log into this. Right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another user. In this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new user. And then let me say sudo add user. We'll say right. And then I will provide my password. Right. I have added. Then I will have a new password. I provide the password, then provide all the required other information. Right. Now that I have created the user, I can again go back and say log out. Now, let me use the password we have created. Okay, so you are inside Sehansa's account now. Right, again, I will go back.
So excuse me.
Yes.
How do you do that logout? Because when I do that logout, it's showing me a kind of logout, not login shell. Use exit or something.
Are you in the graphical user system?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the reason. So, so in other words, what you can do is you can work on the terminal by going out in the graphical user system. So if you type Control Alt and some F1, Control
Alter F.
Alt, try F1.
F1. Okay.
Now, can you see the terminal?
Yeah, I'm working on the terminal. When I can add user, I can change the user mode and everything. But when I type that logout command only, that time only it shows use exit.
Okay. So then you type exit, what will happen?
Exit.
Maybe,
Terminal exits.
um, right. Maybe let me stop at this point. Okay. So what you can do is, as I told you earlier, by pressing Alt, Control, and Function keys, F1, I'm in the first account, F2, you go to the next account. Right? In the second account, we have send hero TT2. Then third account, it's TT3. We have Sehansa. So if you command use who, you can see that it now lists all my three users. Sampath in terminal number 1, Senir is terminal number 2, and Sehansa is in terminal number 3. There should be a way, unfortunately, since we are in a online session, I'm unable to find you the key combination, but ideally it should work. Try to get somebody's help who get familiar with it. Unfortunately, since I'm in online, I'm unable to provide you any help on this, but ideally the key combination should work. Right, shall we move on then? Right. Sorry about the difficulties we are having, because this is very practical subject. Although we can talk about the theory, I think ideally it will be trying it out and setting up your own servers. So let me switch back to my first account. And then let me continue the last part of this session, which is I'm going to remove some of the users. Therefore, I'm going to logging out with the other two accounts. Right, I will say log out. Yeah, so if I do that, now I'm not in Sehansa's account. Right now, only 2 users. Yes. And then if I say cat / etc groups, we can see Sehansa is there, Sampath, Senhiru, and we have a group instructor, and we set Senhiru as a right. Now the next one is removing users. Like adding users, simply you can remove users by deleting users. So the command is, we can say del user. We can say del user Sehansa. Okay, we have to root privileges. So we say sudo del user Sehansa, which will remove. So the password, let me put right. Okay, now that we have removed the user, now we can see the groups again, groups. Okay, we can have some, groups like this. And then let's say group, cat etc.group. You can see now, you might see Sehansa is still. In this case, you don't see because we have removed that. We have removed the user by using sudo. The command is sudo del user Sehansa. Right. I think that's all what I wanted to discuss about setting up users and groups. Actually, there are a lot of things that we need to discuss and learn, but I think that basically we discuss creating users, putting it to groups, as well as providing root privileges to some of the users, and then finally we discuss removing users. I think which will cover everything what we need about users and the groups in server systems, because it's a server, so we have to create multiple users. But of course, if you want to create this, you have learned the bash scripts, shell scripts. For example, you can automate this process by automatically creating, let's say, 100 users. Because it's tedious task, you do this manually by adding one user at a time. What you can do is you can write a pseudocode, shell script where you can have a for loop. Within the for loop, you can automate this one, right? So that's something that you could try to see how to automate this process. And if you need it, like I can work with the database section where I will discuss this idea in bit detail. Right. Okay. I think with this, we have completed that part. What I want to discuss next is about setting up a database server. What I've said, the database server is especially, I would like to discuss how to set up MySQL server on Ubuntu. So that's the idea that I want to discuss. Maybe I will discuss in very brief, because I will stop about like 10:45 so that Supersan will work on web servers part. Right. Now, let me start that part. At least the first few steps we'll discuss, and then we'll discuss more in detail once he finishes, because some other servers to set up, we need to set up, Apache as well. So we need that knowledge. So we'll look at that. So let me clear my session. Let me look at MySQL installation. Usual practice is you update. So sudo apt update is usually the command that you use to update. And then you can install the MySQL server by offering the command sudo apt install. And it says MySQL dash server. So this is simply how you can install, MySQL. Right. Now, let's start by typing this, which will setting this up. And there are like a couple of commands, couple of things that you had prompt. First one is it's asked us whether we want to continue with the installation. Let me put it as yes. Right. So as you can see, this consume about like some space in your machine, about 200 plus. And also like it might ask some questions like about the passwords to be set up for this. And I think in your case, you have already set up this in the Windows machine. I hope the basic command that you have used will be the same here as well.